Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we're going to be talking about Cissnei, who is going to be getting her rework, her F4 and BT weapons. Now we're going to take a look at some of the changes that she is going to be getting, and I'm going to let you guys know whether or not you should pull for her in the upcoming banners. So, do let me know down in the comment section below what your plans are going to be. If you're going to be pulling for her kit, or if you're going to be holding off for the next banner, feel free to let me know. And as always, if you guys do enjoy the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for future content, and with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. A big thank you, as always, to all of my current YouTube members. Thank you so much for supporting what I do. If you ever thought about becoming a supporter of the channel, you can either click the first link in the description of this video or the join button below for details on what perks you gain for becoming a member of the channel, and a big thank you ahead of time if you do decide to become one. So we'll first start off with Cissnei's rework. So her skill 1, Blade Glint, now deals 8 HP attacks. Her skill 2, Threatening Ember, now deals 6 HP attacks that allows for 150% stolen max wave overflow and now grants 2 levels to her overhead. Her EX now deals an AoE split HP attack 7 times. Her Fortune Star buff adds a 30% HP damage up and Stolen Brave up by 50%. Her LD now deals an AoE 4 HP attack 6 times. That grants free ability use on her following turn. Her Turk's Rising Star buff adds party HP damage up by 10%, 30% Stolen Max Brave Overflow up, and Brave damage up. Now with Fujin as her partner, Cissnei's FR deals an AoE splits HP attack 4 times. That grants 2 levels on her overhead. Her FR conditions are as follows: a 5% increase whenever a teammate except Cissnei uses a ranged ability, and this also includes off-turn triggers. A 10% increase whenever Cissnei uses a ranged ability, and this also includes off-turn triggers. And a 40% increase whenever a teammate deals critical brave damage. Now Cissnei's BT effect lasts for 6 turns and grants the following. To herself, the levels on her overhead do not decrease, and her follow-ups trigger twice, no matter the overhead level. The party gains a 50% brave damage up, 50% brave damage cap up, 50% HP damage up, and a 20% HP damage cap up. So let's talk about whether or not you should pull for Cissnei in the upcoming banners. Now, Cissnei is a strong third slot follow-up attacker. When it comes to her follow-ups trigger after everybody's turn ends. And depending on the levels that she has on her overhead, will equal to her dealing either 1, 2, or 3 AoE split HP attacks. Now, depending on what abilities that you're going to be using, which more than likely, and this is what at least I used Cissnei before she got her BT, was that I would spam her LD ability because it would give me the instant max levels, which is 3 levels. And that way, I could have consistent 3 AoE splits HP attacks. But the issue with Cissnei in the past was that every time it was her turn, her levels would decrease by 1 level. So with that being said though, if you use any other ability outside of her LD ability, then yeah, whatever level that you are at, just know that you are going to be losing it by 1 level. So that's why many players, including myself, would make sure that we were prioritized in spamming her LD ability. But now that she's going to be getting her BT, things are going to be different. Now her FR, though it is slightly restrictive-ish, it can still be used for some easy increases. So the reason why I said that it's restrictive-ish is because of the fact that, 1, depending on how you are going to be using her force time, if you are considering using her F4 as the main force time, is that the first condition is to use ranged abilities, and it also includes off-turn triggers. So there are very few characters that is able to hit the enemies with off-turn triggers, so that way you are able to get that consistent 5% on off turns. So That being said, though, there are, like I said, there are only a few characters that is able to help out with that. Like, the one character that comes to mind is going to be Kane. Kane is going to be getting his rework very, very soon. And so, because of that, like, Kane would be a really good choice if your main focus is going to be trying to increase the HP damage bonus, not only on turn, but also off turn increases. Now, the last one is to deal critical brave damage. With Cissnei, it's not going to be an issue whatsoever because she has a 100% crit rate up. So she's always going to be dealing crit rate damage. The only time that it could potentially be an issue is if by chance the enemies do not allow themselves to get broken. If that's the case, then you are going to have to rely on call abilities to be able to grant either the caller or your teammates critical damage brave up, or excuse me, critical rate up, so that way everybody is able to dish out critical brave damage and meet that final condition. So, like I said, like, it is slightly restrictive-ish, but it just depends on how you are considering using her force time. If not, then you can just use it as an FR Echo, which is typically what I tend to do myself. Now, the BT makes Cissnei a fantastic third slot unit for the consistent double follow-ups after everyone's turn. Now, having double follow-ups is fantastic, but the biggest fix that her BT helps or fixes for Cissnei, excuse me, is the fact that it prevents her levels from decreasing whatsoever. So her LD ability provides a buff that makes it so that her levels do not decrease whatsoever until that buff gets dispelled or it goes away. But that buff only lasted for one turn. Now that she has her BT, and the fact that her BT effect prevents that from happening regardless if you have that buff or not, makes it so that at 3 levels, and with her follow-ups triggering twice, that is a consistent 6 AoE HP attacks that she is going to be following up after everybody's turn. And those follow-up attacks do stack up very quickly. They do shave off the enemy's HP very, very quickly. So just note that regardless of the fact that her BT effect is short at 6 turns, they had good reasons for doing so because of the fact that you are going to be getting consistent amount of follow-ups depending on what other characters you are going to be pairing up with Cissnei. If they have follow-ups of their own, that's just going to be damage on top of damage on top of damage. Now, because the BT effect is short, it may not be something that some players might not be a fan of. The one thing that I can recommend players do is that if you have worked on the green crystal characters on your weekly crystal quest, or if you have unlocked, like I have seen some players do, which is unlocking the D3 and D6 passives, then you are able to give Cissnei less time for her to be able to do any of her abilities. Yeah, you may miss out on being able to spam her FR Echo if you're going to be using somebody else's FR as the main force time, but at least you know that you are going to be getting those consistent amount of follow-up damage after everybody's turn. So Cissnei can still, and to this day, like, I literally just used her in the recent Shinryu that we just had in JP with Aiko's release. And she did just fine. Like, the consistent follow-ups that I was getting out of her was fantastic. So, overall, Cissnei, again, fantastic third slot unit. You definitely want that BT. If you want those big amount of follow-up damage out of Cissnei, you want to pull for her BT weapon. The only reason I could see as the players not pulling for Cissnei is going to be if you feel comfortable enough with the follow-up attacks that other units may provide, the follow-up attacks that some units provide on their own turn, and if you think that Cissnei is not going to be something that, or it's not going to be a character that would actually add more value to potential team content in the future, or just in general, then I would say you can probably hold off on Cissnei. I don't think that Cissnei is considered, at least in my book, I don't think that she is considered a must pull, but she is fantastic to have. you want follow-up damage, she is definitely the queen when it comes to follow-up damage after everybody's turn. So Cissnei, definitely not a must pull, but really, really good to have for those consistent amounts of follow-up damage. But other than that though, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. And as always, if you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for future content. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.